Hi everyone, my name is Randy. I'm with the MassBike Safe Routes to Schools program, and I'm here in my apartment in Cambridge, Massachusetts with my bike Sequoia. And I want to talk to you today about basic bike mechanics, the ABCs of a safety check, but actually I'm going to only do the A, which is air. So did you know that it's not actually your tires that hold the air? There's actually a tube inside your tire that holds the air. So when you get a flat tire, it's caused by a puncture or hole in the tube itself. And air goes into the tube through the valve. This is the valve. So there's two types of valves, Presta and Schrader. It's important to recognize what kind of valve you have because these valves are not interchangeable if you need to buy a new tube. So on my road bike, I have a Presta valve. It's actually a little bit skinnier than you can see the Schrader valve is. The Presta valve has this tiny little nub, and I need to loosen that when I'm putting air in. So you can press it. That's a good way to remember it. Presta for press, because when you press on the tip, the valve air should rush out if you have air in your tires. This is just a deflated tube. Schrader valves have this little pin, if you can see in there, that you can press to let the air out. However, unlike Presta valves, you don't need to do anything to open them like this. I have to twist this little thing. Presta valves don't have that, right? So the first thing to do when you want to pump your tires is to figure out what the how much pressure your tires are rated for. So I'm going to look on my bike here, and on the tire, there's specific ratings for PSI. That's pounds per square inch. So it may be hard to find the number, but actually I see it over here. It says 55 to 100 PSI. So that's the units that are used for air pressure in the United States. And notice that that was a range. 55 to 100. So the maximum is an important thing to remember. Don't inflate your tires more than the maximum because the tube may pop. And as you know, air pressure increases with temperature. So if you fill your tires on a cool day and then you leave your bike out in the hot sun, you have any guesses on what might happen? The air pressure in the tire will increase above the maximum, causing the tube to burst. So how do we avoid that? Just make sure that when you are pumping up your tires, you want to give yourself a little wiggle room of about 5 to 10 PSI less than the maximum. So if mine are 100, then I'm only going to pump it up to 90 or 95, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is unscrew this little dust cap here. Here's my little dust cap. And then, since I have Presta, I'm going to unscrew the little Presta top to get in there. And on my pump, let me show you two things. So you see there's two holes. This is a pump that works for both the Schrader and the Presta valve. And since mine is Presta, like here's that tube, this fits into the smaller one, whereas the Schrader one fits into the large one. So that's one thing. And then the other thing I'll be looking for is the tire pressure, which this little window on my pump tells me where it is. So the road bike actually is 100 PSI. That's the maximum. So that's in that orange area. So that's what I'm keeping in mind when I pump. So I'm going to make sure that the pump head goes straight down on the valve so that it's not crooked, and I'm going to make sure to press firmly. And then my pump head has this little lock that pushes up. That can differ on pumps, but some pumps will have the opposite, and other pumps may have a little knob on the pump head instead. So make sure that the pump head is straight down on the valve, otherwise air may be blocked from entering. You can also pinch your tube if it's crooked. So the next step is I'm going to place my feet firmly on the pump so that I can steady it, and then I lift all the way up, and then I push all the way down for maximum inflation with each push. And then I repeat that until I have reached the desired air pressure. Okay, and I showed you that gauge. So that's what I'm watching when I'm pumping. That tells me how much pressure is in my tires. And I want the needle, there's a needle in there that moves to where the pressure is. I want it to rest at my desired PSI. But as I inflate, the needle rises and falls with each push. So the needle will rise above, which is measuring the force of air going into the tires. And then the number where it comes to rest is the reading of how much pressure is inside my tires. All right, so if the needle seems sluggish or gets stuck above where it should be, there's likely a problem with your connection. So you should disconnect and reconnect the pump to make sure that air is getting into the tires correctly and the reading is going, is correct. So when I've adequately inflated my tires, I'm going to unlock the pump here by pushing this little piece down and then lift it up. I try to do that as straight as possible so that I don't let any air accidentally out. And I have the Presta valve, so I'm going to close that little top. And then I'll use my little dust cover and put that back on the Presta valve. So that's how you pump your tires. Talk to you guys next time.